She left my brother sick and shivering so she could chase his smile. I watched her lie to CPS, beg for trust, then sneak into his truck at night. The moment I stopped calling her Mom wasn't loud. It was quiet, cold, and final. That's when everything truly broke. I don't think there was one single moment when I realized my mom cared more about her boyfriend than she did about me or my brother. It was more like a slow unraveling, like watching a sweater come undone thread by thread until you're standing. They're cold, confused, and wondering how the hell you didn't notice it falling apart sooner. But if I had to pinpoint a turning point, it probably started when I was around 14. That was the year Eric came into our lives. Before Eric, my mom wasn't perfect, no parent is, but she was present. She made dinner most nights, came to our school events, even if she complained about them later, and checked in on us before bed. She worked long hours at a dental office, but she made time for us. She used to call me her baby girl and play with my hair while I did homework at the kitchen table. My little brother, Jason, was only 10 at the time, and she would still tuck him in and read him dumb little stories she made up on the spot. They were ridiculous, but they were ours. Then, Eric showed up. He wasn't anything special, not at first glance. Somewhat handsome, in a way that screamed divorced gym teacher who peaked in 2003. He drove a matte black pickup truck that was always way too clean and wore sunglasses indoors like he was about to drop a mixtape at any moment. The first time we met him, Mom made us clean the house like Jesus himself was coming over. She even made me rewash the windows in the living room because they had streaks. The man ended up being an hour late and reeked of Axe body spray and beer. But my mom looked at him like he was Ryan Reynolds and God combined. At dinner, he talked about himself nonstop. Jason asked him if he liked Star Wars, and Eric laughed in that way that makes you feel dumb for asking anything. Nah, that nerd stuff isn't really my thing, he said, smirking. I'm more of a truck guy. I remember Mom laughing at that, even though Jason looked crushed. I don't think he even touched his mac and cheese after that. After that dinner, it was like Eric just never left. He wasn't living with us officially, at least not at first. But he was there all the time. His toothbrush showed up in the bathroom. His shoes sat by the front door. His truck was in our driveway every weekend, and sometimes on weekdays too. And the more he showed up, the more my mom started disappearing. Not physically, at first. She was still in the house, still working, still cooking. But it was like she only saw him. Like Jason and I were suddenly part of the furniture, useful, but not important. I noticed it first in small things, like how she started cooking the meals he liked instead of what we liked. Jason hated spicy food, but Eric loved it. So suddenly, everything had hot sauce or chili powder dumped into it like we were in some Hell's Kitchen challenge. When Jason asked if we could go back to having Mom's baked ziti once in a while, Eric snorted and said, "You can always eat cereal if you don't like dinner." Mom didn't defend Jason. She just rolled her eyes and told him not to be so picky. And then there were the times she canceled things. Jason's piano recital? Skipped it. Eric had tickets to a country concert. My school's art showcase? She said she'd come, but then forgot, because Eric had a really rough day and needed her to come over to cheer him up. When I asked her why she didn't at least call, she snapped, "Why do you always make everything about you?" That line stuck with me, because I wasn't making things about me. I just wanted her to care, to show up. Jason's 11th birthday was the first time I really knew something was off. Not just a little off, like wreckage ahead, brace for impact off. He wanted a Star Wars-themed party. We weren't rich, so he didn't expect a lot. He just wanted pizza, some decorations, and for Mom to make that chocolate cake she always made, the one with the crushed Oreos on top. She said yes. She promised. But that day, she was late getting home. Jason kept looking out the window every few minutes like a lost puppy. I had helped him put up some dollar store decorations, and I was trying to keep him distracted, but he wasn't stupid. He could feel it too. When Mom finally walked through the door, she looked annoyed. Her hair was a mess, her makeup smudged, and she wasn't alone. Eric walked in behind her, holding a 6-pack of beer and looking like he had just woken up from a nap on someone's couch. "Mom?" Jason asked softly. "Did you bring the cake?" She blinked. "What?" "The birthday cake. You said—" "Oh, no. Sorry. We got busy." "But hey, you like ice cream, right?" She pulled out a half-melted pint of vanilla from a plastic grocery bag. 1 pint. For 3 people. No candles. No pizza. No nothing. Jason didn't cry. That's the worst part. He just nodded, sat down at the table, and started peeling off a decoration from the wall. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab that pint of ice cream and throw it out the damn window. Instead, I just walked into the kitchen, grabbed my phone, and ordered pizza with my babysitting money. Eric tried to protest. Something about, "You don't need all that. Junk food." But I ignored him. I handed Jason a slice like it was a lifeline. He looked up at me and whispered, "Thanks." And that's when something broke in me. That was the moment I realized I was parenting my little brother more than our own mom was. Over time, Mom started acting like we were the problem. If I brought up something Eric said or did that was rude or out of line, she'd get defensive. "You don't like anyone I date," she'd say. "You just want me to be alone forever, don't you?" It wasn't true. I wanted her to be happy. God, I wanted her to be so happy. She worked hard. She deserved love. But not like this. Not with him. Eric wasn't just selfish. He was controlling. He started making comments about what I wore, saying things like, "A little young for that look, don't you think?" Or, "Trying to get attention from boys already?" It made my skin crawl, but when I told Mom, she waved it off. "He's just joking. Don't be so sensitive." Sensitive. That word followed me around like a shadow. She said it when I got upset that she missed another parent-teacher meeting. She said it when Jason got scared of Eric yelling at the TV during football games. She said it when I asked her gently if she could maybe spend a weekend with just us. "You're being sensitive. Eric's not going anywhere, so you better get used to it." Jason got pneumonia one winter. Bad. We ended up in the ER at 2 a.m. He had a high fever, trouble breathing. I called Mom 5 times. She didn't answer. I was 15. I had no license, no money. I panicked. I called my friend's mom, who drove us to the hospital while I held Jason in the back seat, whispering to him that it was going to be okay. He stayed in the hospital overnight. The doctors were great, but I was terrified. Mom finally showed up the next morning. She was wearing a new dress, full makeup. I could still smell Eric's cologne on her. "Oh my God," she said dramatically. "Why didn't anyone call me?" "I did," I said coldly. 5 times. She looked at her phone. I had it on silent. Eric and I were watching a movie. I stared at her. "He was more important than your son almost dying?" Her face hardened. "Don't guilt trip me. You think it's easy being a single mom? I deserve a life too." That was it. That was when I knew, really knew, that my mom was gone. Replaced. By someone who had confused love with obsession. Someone who saw Eric not as a part of her life, but as the center of it. And anything outside of that didn't matter. Not even her kids. After the hospital incident, something inside me just snapped. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't even argue anymore. I just went quiet. I started doing what I had to do, getting Jason to school, helping with homework, cooking meals, keeping the house clean when Mom was gone for weekends with Eric. But emotionally, I shut down. I stopped expecting her to show up for us. I stopped hoping she would suddenly remember we were her kids and not roommates. I think she noticed. She started acting weird, swinging between overly sweet and randomly aggressive. Like one night she came home with Chinese takeout and said, "Just the 3 of us tonight, okay?" Like she was trying to bribe us. Then the next night, she screamed at Jason for accidentally spilling milk on the couch and called him a little brat with no respect. Jason cried himself to sleep that night. I heard it through the wall. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat in my bed, fists clenched, staring at the ceiling, thinking, this isn't how it's supposed to be. We had no family nearby. My dad, gone before Jason was even born. We had no one else, just each other, and slowly, even that started feeling like it was slipping. It wasn't just me who felt it. Jason felt it too. And he was just a kid. He couldn't hide it the way I did. He started acting up in school. Not big stuff, but little red flags. Not turning in homework. Daydreaming in class. Arguing with teachers. I only found out when the school called the house and left a message. Mom deleted it. I caught him staring blankly at the wall one afternoon while his favorite cartoon was on. I asked what was wrong. He just shrugged and said, "Mom doesn't like us anymore, does she?" I felt like someone punched me in the throat. "She loves you," I said. "She's just distracted." He looked at me with those big, tired eyes and whispered, "Then why does she only smile when he's around?" I didn't have an answer. It was a Thursday night. I had just turned 16. Jason was 12. Eric came over after work, already buzzed. He was laughing loud and kept calling me princess in this fake, sarcastic tone that made my skin crawl. I tried to avoid him and went upstairs to help Jason with his homework, but he followed me into the hallway. "Aw, come on, don't be so cold," he said. "You used to be fun." "I was 13 when you met me," I snapped. "I wasn't supposed to be your drinking buddy." He stepped closer. Too close. His breath reeked of beer and something sour. "You're lucky your mom puts up with your attitude," he said. "She's finally got a man who gives a damn, and all you do is sulk." I stared at him. "You don't give a damn about anyone but yourself." He laughed, but it wasn't funny. Then he leaned in and said, "Careful who you talk to like that. I live here now." He didn't, not officially. But in that moment, I realized he wasn't going anywhere. Not unless someone made him. I shoved past him and locked myself in my room. I heard him go back downstairs, laughing again like nothing happened. I texted my mom, who was at the store, and told her what he said. She texted back, "Don't start with this again. He's just trying to connect. Stop being dramatic." That was it. That was her response to the fact that her boyfriend had tried to intimidate me in our own house. The next day, I did something I had never done before. I packed a bag for Jason and me and walked to my school counselor's office. I told her everything. Not just about Eric, about Mom, about how she'd become a stranger, how she left us alone with him for days at a time, how Jason was scared, how I was done pretending. Everything was okay. The school called Child Protective Services. That night, 2 women with clipboards showed up at our house. My mom was furious. Screaming, red-faced, sobbing in the living room, while one of the workers calmly asked me and Jason questions in the kitchen. Eric stayed in the corner, arms crossed, smirking. Not a damn word of apology. We weren't taken away that night, but they started monitoring. Social workers came weekly. My mom had to attend parenting classes. Eric was suddenly staying with a friend. But the damage was already done. Jason wouldn't even talk to her anymore. He just avoided her like she was a ghost. And me? I stopped calling her Mom. I started calling her by her first name, Kelly. That hurt her more than anything else, I think. But she didn't get to cry about it. I was done letting her emotions be the center of the universe. After CPS got involved, everything changed, but not in the way I hoped. For a while, it was like watching a bad actor try to play loving mother on a low-budget reality show. Kelly, yeah, I'm still calling her that, suddenly started packing Jason's lunches. She left handwritten notes in them that said stuff like, "Love you always, Mom," even though Jason would just shove them in his backpack like trash. She sat through our school meetings with this fake smile plastered on her face and nodded too much, like someone trying to pass a lie detector test. But nothing about it felt real. The biggest lie of all? She told CPS that she and Eric had ended things for good. That it was just too complicated and not the right time for a relationship. That might have worked. If I hadn't caught her sneaking out to his truck at 1 a.m. 3 nights in a row. I took a photo, texted it to her the 4th time, no caption. She didn't even deny it, just wrote back, "You don't understand. I need him." And that was it. That was the final moment I stopped wishing she'd change. 3 months later, the school counselor and CPS helped me start the process of becoming emancipated. I had a part-time job, solid grades, and, most importantly, a rock-solid case of neglect. I wasn't doing it to be dramatic. I wasn't trying to punish her. I just knew I couldn't survive another year pretending that woman was my mother. Jason couldn't come with me legally. He was too young. But a miracle happened. Our old neighbor, Mrs. Coleman, who used to babysit us when we were little, stepped in. She offered to become Jason's temporary guardian. She was retired, kind and fierce in a way only old Southern women can be. She told CPS, "Those kids deserved better 5 years ago. I won't let them fall through the cracks again." I hugged her so hard I almost knocked her over. Kelly didn't even fight the custody change. I think she was relieved. She texted me once after I left. "You'll understand when you're older." I never answered. It's been 5 years. I'm 21 now. Jason is 17. He's thriving, on the honor roll, wants to study engineering, still hates spicy food, still watches Star Wars, still calls me when he has a bad day. Me? I'm doing okay. I've got a cheap apartment, 2 part-time jobs, and a tiny life that feels more mine than anything ever did in that house. I haven't spoken to Kelly in years. She still lives with Eric according to Facebook. Yeah, I looked once. That was enough. People always say, "But she's still your mom." And to that I say, a title means nothing when the actions never matched. My mom was gone the second she chose her boyfriend over her own sick child. The second she told me I was too sensitive when I cried over being forgotten. The second she looked at us, her kids, and saw nothing but obstacles between her and the man she was obsessed with. So, when did I realize my mom was more obsessed with her man than her own kids? Not at the dinner table, not at Jason's ruined birthday, not in the hospital room, not even when CPS stepped in. It was the night I looked into Jason's eyes and saw that he had stopped hoping, that he had given up on being loved the way a child should be loved. That was the moment I knew. She didn't lose us because of Eric. She lost us because she stopped choosing us. And when a parent stops choosing you over and over again, you eventually learn to choose yourself.